the American soldier. I'd like to send a shout out to all of the armed forces told me their stories. You know, in the medical field, there's a lot of different branches of the United States military. The facial expressions in that moment is just so amazing and shocking. And welcome back to Gallagher's Grip. This is your host, Daniel Gallagher, again recording live from the Gallagher's Grip studio. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to do a bit of a podcast here on the American soldier, the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force. I'd like to send a shout out to all of the armed forces here in the United States of America. I want to make it, a public platform for us. I want you folks to listen to what I'm going to say in regards to the level of respect that I have for our American soldiers and everybody here at the Gallagher's Grip studio, because we have a lot of people that we know that are either serving or have served, and I am very close friends with a lot of veterans, a lot of older gentlemen who have told me their stories and what they went through when they enlisted in the United States military. And it is certainly no joke, and the level of respect I have for them is just tremendous. Look, you make the decision as a young kid to enlist in the United States Army, military, Air Force, but you make the decision to enlist yourself, of which, if accepted, you become property of the United States of America, which I don't say that in a bad way. I say that, in a good way. You become the property of that agency, if you will, okay, the United States of America, in which they take you in, and they teach you and train you, and they show you how to be a lean, mean fighting machine in some cases. In other cases, they educate you, and they, depending on what branch that you actually go into, they actually educate you and put you in the areas in which that you want to be. Air Force mechanic, an Army mechanic, in the medical field. There's a lot of different branches of the United States military. I have a friend who will be on one of my shows here soon, and I have a huge deal of respect for him because he was telling me that he actually jumped out of a plane with his parachute while serving, and his parachute did not open up until he was 100 feet off of the ground. Now, imagine that. Imagine free falling from 18,000 feet, knowing your parachute won't open up, but then it pops open at 100 feet, and the speed in which he hit the ground basically shattered all his vertebrae. And he has a very, very, very tough time walking now. I love him to death. Great guy. Told me many, many stories about what he did and where he went. Most cases, soldiers don't like to talk about what they have done or where they were, and I understand that. I get that, but I want to talk about the just extreme amount of respect that we as American citizens absolutely need to show each and every person that is either considering going into the United States military, is in the United States military, or is a veteran of the United States military. Because, folks, what these people go through in basic training, what they have to endure, what they have to do, is shocking. It's shocking. And I was actually watching a couple of these videos that people project out there, and they're titled Soldiers Coming Home, or Surprise Soldiers Coming Home. And that hit me. It hit me really, really hard, because you are gone for a year, you are gone for 2 years, 6 months, 3 years, whatever your deployment ultimately ends up being. You are gone. You're gone. and the communication with your family and friends and loved ones are at a complete minimum because they have to be. So a lot of times you are gone. You do not see your family for a very long time, and that's really why these coming home videos are so emotional, because the person they're surprising, the mom, the dad, the sister, what have you, boyfriend, husband, they haven't seen these people, literally seen them, or in most cases haven't even spoken to them in quite a very, very long time. And man, it hits me every single time when I see a soldier coming home, surprising their family members, and that one moment where they realize what is taking place. Because in a lot of these videos, it takes 3, 4, 5 seconds for the other person to kind of realize what's taking place and bring it all in. And once they do, the facial expressions in that moment is just so amazing and shocking. And, if there's anything real, if there's anything more real, it is absolutely that moment that you feel, when you see these two people collide and finally see each other again after not seeing each other for a very long time. I have got such a massive amount of respect for every single person that is involved or in the United States military. Why? Because they are protecting us. Every single day they wake up and they go to work to protect the American citizens. And a lot of times, folks, in my opinion now, I think we overlook some of this stuff because most Americans who are not involved in any branch of the military will wake up. They have their host of problems they have to deal with. They go to work. They do what they need to do and they come home, right? Which is normal life. But these guys and these ladies get up, go to work with the intent to arm and defend. And if that moment calls, if that moment arises, they're going. And they're not just going to knock on a door. They're not going to just stop a little fist fight. No. These folks are going to war. These U.S. soldiers are going to storm into houses. They are going to grab their guns, locked and loaded, and go with the mindset to fight, to shoot, to kill, to protect. It's really amazing to me, if you really take a step back and think about it. I wonder how many wars, silent wars or public wars, are actually going on at any given time in the world that the United States may be behind or knows about or spearheading, because of all of the threats that we receive on a daily basis from terrorist organizations or organizations around the world that just simply cannot handle, or they simply despise the United States of America's ideologies. And, it's amazing to me, because when I go down the street and I'm driving my vehicle, or I go to a mall, or I go somewhere that's a public place, I'm going to be open and say this. I'm not even sure what America is sometimes. And let me explain to you what I mean. We've got foreigners everywhere. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Many of them are in this country very legally, gone through the process, etc. But we are the largest melting pot of the world for people who have different backgrounds, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're Arab, Muslim, whatever the case may be. Our country's filled with so many different backgrounds. We are simply in America that is a melting pot of everybody. And I don't know if that is good, and I don't know if that is bad. I'm just stating a fact. And I'm sure you can all agree with me that when you go out, you kind of see the same thing. Again, not being negative or I'm just stating a fact here, okay? And it's like, okay, well, what is America? We've got all of these people in the United States Army fighting for a melting pot America to keep the theme of freedom alive, freedom of speech, freedom of choice alive, and we try to fight to have that resonate throughout the entire world. But it is amazing to me how many, third party countries simply just cannot stand the United States of America and the ideologies that we portray and the ideologies that we try to fight for. At the end of the day, it's about freedom. It's about waking up, and if you want to take a right, you take a right. You want to take a left, you take a left. If you don't want to take a right or a left, then guess what? You're not taking a right or a left. It's freedom of choice, and that is the United States of America, folks. That is what we are. That is who we are. And we've got soldiers in the front lines fighting for just that. Fighting for the children, fighting for your ability to wake up on Christmas morning and enjoy the moments with your children when they see the presents around the Christmas tree. And I hope you have a lot of presents around the Christmas tree. We have got an army, a lethal army of people that are defending us on a daily basis. And to me, it makes the hair on the back of my head actually stand up. I was doing a particular job on an Air Force base in Wyoming, and I was at a moment I was walking down the strip on this specific Air Force base, and folks, I kid you not, I seen things fly in and out of that Air Force base that I never knew existed. I never knew there were these kinds of things created. You see commercial airlines, you see planes, you see helicopters when you're out and about. But I can promise you this, you don't see some of these things that we have here in America. The last country on earth that I would ever want to mess with, without question, bar none, is the United States of America. And let me tell you something. When I seen these things and I was trying to process exactly what they are, I was proud. I was so proud to be an American because, look, every single day there's other countries that sit around tables or sit around camps or sit around campfires and they say to themselves, how can we hurt and harm America? We hate them. We can't stand them. We do not like what they stand for. We do not like that they stand for freedom, that they have freedom in their lives. How can we hurt them? And there are so many instances, and we all know 9/11, we all know there's so many negative, bad things that go on. And again, I have so much gratitude for the service members of our country because there are people that wake up every day and focus on analyzing daily threats to the United States of America. And if those daily threats are deemed to be somewhat real, then you have a whole team over here that actually goes and takes care of it. And if it is a certain level of realism, then guess what? You've got a massive team coming your way. And it's I don't know, folks. It's exhilarating. I'm so proud to be an American citizen in today's day and age, and I'm so happy to have children here in this country. I believe that we are all happy, but I have to ask myself sometimes. In today's day and age, okay, you have got billions of people on this planet, and you've got leaderships in different countries, etc. And I brought up earlier, I wonder how many silent wars are actually taking place in today's day and age. And, if you really think about it, it's really sad that wars of any kind really have to happen in the first place. Now, I'm not trying to come across as soft here. All I'm saying to you is that in 2025, I mean, you would think that the world population would have grown up to the point where they realize, why do we have to kill? Why do we have to hurt? Why do we have to harm? Why do I have to invade a country and have hundreds of thousands of soldiers die and leave behind so many wives or husbands or children because I, as one leader of a country, made the decision to go in and attack for most likely selfish reasons? I mean, you take a step back, I ask myself, why do we have to even have wars in the first place? It really is a valid question. It's like we are not in the 1900s. You know, we this is 2025. You know, you would think the leaderships and the evolution of people and the world and the whole 9 yards, people would wake up and say, oh, man, you know what? I don't think we have to go to war here. Why don't we just have a sit-down conversation and talk it through like adult men and women in this world? You know, and I understand that happens. I understand that many, many times that happens. But, you know, to go to war these days is I don't think it's necessary unless, of course, somebody provokes you and creates harm to your people through selfish acts with the intention to hurt or kill, i.e., 9/11, etc. I just feel like, you know, the good and evil in this world, not even the country, the world is so left and so right. There's so much good and there's so much evil, and it would be so nice, and I know I may be wishful thinking here, ladies and gentlemen, but it would be so nice to actually have a world that has a little bit more good. Everything seems to be revolved around the dollar. And if you don't have many dollars, then guess what? You are in trouble. If you don't have enough dollars to pay your rent, guess what? You're on the streets. And it's just, to me, in a country that is so wealthy, to have people going through evictions or having to be on the streets or homelessness, I think it is so uncalled for in today's day and age, with the amount of money available to us, the amount of money the Fed prints, the amount of money that is floating out there. To have these people go through financial hardships shouldn't happen. So what? The wars are all caused for selfish financial reasons? What is the real reason? I often wonder. But I can tell you this. I think that there are so many silent wars taking place around the world, as we are known as the babysitter of the world, that I appreciate and I'm thankful for being able to go to sleep every night, truly go to sleep every night with not having to have a weapon in my hand that is fully loaded. Knowing that our army is truly at the level where in a moment's notice, an entourage of destruction on behalf of the United States could be heading or would be heading or will be heading your way if you play games with us. And, you know, that's a really good feeling. It's not a feeling out of arrogance or ego, but, you know, it's a very, very good feeling to know that we have the capability. Folks, I'm telling you, when I was on this Air Force base, I didn't even know what to call these things. I didn't even know what to call these particular things that were flying. But, it just seems like the more and more I speak to my colleagues, my friends who are serving or have served, the more I hear about stories that will give you nightmares, and what these soldiers go through when they are deployed. And they're deployed all over the world. Again, being the babysitter of the United States of America, these folks are gone. These folks are gone for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, etc., waking up every day fighting for us. And as an American citizen, American citizens need to have the most extreme amount of respect for our American soldiers because, folks, unfortunately, there are two sides to the story. One side is the coming home and surprising your loved ones because you have been gone for a long period of time. But the other side of the story is that you don't come home and you cannot surprise your loved ones. I think about my children and I think about my life and I think about having to go through that if my son were to serve and not come home. And I think about what the American people go through when they get a knock on the door from a representative of somebody from the United States of America Army saying that we regret to inform you that your son or daughter did not make it through an attack that took place on such and such date in such and such area. And the amount of devastation and the amount of feelings and the amount of overwhelming hurt that must cause an American citizen is detrimental. And to think about what a person goes through, because a lot of times they haven't seen their loved one 6 months, a year, 2 years. And guess what? They never realized the moment that loved one went off that they would never see him again. There's just so much sadness in this world that it's so nice to see happiness. It's so nice to see the sunshine, because whether we like it or not, I hate to say this, and I know it's all in how a human being looks at life and looks at events and looks at the big picture, but it would be nice to not have as much sadness in this world, wouldn't it? It would be nice to not have to be in wars constantly, wouldn't it? It would be nice not to know that your child is somewhere unknown fighting with a loaded weapon in their hands, fighting for the United States of America's freedom and ideologies. And it would be nice to not have to have that happen, wouldn't it? You get very emotional when you think about that, because when you think about all of the wars that have taken place in the decades and decades of being a country, and the amount of people that have had to have had that phone call or that knock on the door from a soldier not coming home, the amount of pain that is created by that, I couldn't even imagine. And again, that is why I am doing what I'm doing, because I am for America. I am for American citizens in all aspects of what that entails on a daily basis. What people go through on a daily basis. I'm not a niche guy. I don't want to be a niche guy. From divorces to the law, to soldiers, to wars, to politicians, to everything that affects a true, genuine American citizen is what I am and what I represent. And if you listen to me and my podcasts and where this show is certainly heading, I will continue to bring up these hard topics, these hard items to talk about, and I will bring them out into the open on behalf of the American citizens, because I love this country. I love this land, and I love everything about what we represent. And I think that every American citizen needs to go up to a service member and give that person a handshake, give that person a hug, or if you are, as you've seen on some videos, I'm sure, at an airport, and you see a line of U.S. camouflage soldiers leaving that airplane coming out, you absolutely should stand up and clap on behalf of a group of people that have signed away their lives to fight and defend the United States of America. I know I do, and I know everybody here at Gallagher's Grip has the utmost respect and honor to be able to stand behind service members of the United States of America. From everybody here at Gallagher's Grip, thank you to all of you who are on the front lines.